So you want to know about Azerbaijan? Welcome to Opentiera. Today we're taking a look at the most interesting things about this amazing country. Did you know that the territory of modern Azerbaijan was once occupied by various ancient peoples like the Caucasian Albanians and Medes? Later it became part of empires like the Achaemenids and Sassanids. Join us and stay to the end to find out how Azerbaijan regained its independence after being part of the Soviet Union. The early history of what is now Azerbaijan has been traced back to the Stone Age. In antiquity, the territory that makes up modern Azerbaijan was occupied by various peoples, including the Caucasian Albanians and Medes. Azerbaijan later became part of succeeding Persian empires from the 6th century BC onward. In medieval times, parts of historical Azerbaijan came under Arab control in the 7th century during the early Muslim conquests. Turkish nomads established the Seljuk Empire here in the 11th century. The region was subsequently invaded by the Mongols in the 13th century. By the early modern era, Iranian Safavid and Ottoman empires respectively held the territory of Azerbaijan, divided between them for centuries. In the 18th to 19th centuries, the Russo-Persian Wars resulted in northern Azerbaijan coming under the Russian Empire's rule. Southern Azerbaijan remained under Persian control. The northern Khanates of Azerbaijan eventually became the Azerbaijan Democratic Republic, but were incorporated into the Soviet Union soon after. Azerbaijan regained independence after the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991. Ethnic Azerbaijanis make up around 90% of the population. They are a Turkic people with origins tracing back to tribes like the Oghuz and other nomadic peoples that migrated to the Caucasus region. Other notable ethnic groups in Azerbaijan include Lezgians, making up percent of citizens. They live mostly in the north and speak a northeast Caucasian language. The Talish are another group constituting around percent of Azerbaijan's population. They reside in the southeast region near Iran and speak an Iranian language. Additionally, there are ethnic groups like the Avars, Chakurs, Budukh, Kinalug, Judeotat, and more. Beyond the indigenous ethnic groups, there are also minorities of Russians, Armenians, and Ukrainians who settled in Azerbaijan during the Soviet era. They contribute to linguistic, religious, and cultural diversity, for example, native Armenian speakers or Orthodox Christianity among the Russians. In terms of religion, most Azerbaijani people follow Islam, specifically its Shia branch. Around 93% of Azerbaijanis identified as Muslim, and of that Muslim majority, around 65% were classified as Shia Muslims. The Azerbaijani language is a Turkic language, closely related to Turkish and belonging to the Oghuz branch of the language. It uses a modified Latin alphabet since transitioning away from Cyrillic script in the 1990s, after Soviet rule ended. The Azerbaijani language features a range of dialect diversity across different regions. Some dialects include Baku, Ganja, Lenkoran, Kazakh, Kuba, Shaki, Shamaki, Shusha, and more. Other languages spoken natively in Azerbaijan include Lezgian, Russian, and Armenian among minority populations. However, Azerbaijani remains the predominant language used, including as the primary medium of instruction in schools across Azerbaijan. Straddling Eastern Europe and Western Asia, Azerbaijan has diverse landscapes that shape the livelihoods of its people. Most of Azerbaijan is covered by mountains and foothills of the Greater and Lesser Caucasus ranges, which span the north and northwest. These steep slopes lead down into lush valleys and basins, watered by rivers such as the Kura and Araz. Cooler mountain areas support livestock grazing. Contrasting landscapes characterize other parts of Azerbaijan. The subtropical southeast hosts the Talish Mountains and humid broadleaf forests. Central and eastern Azerbaijan descends into arid Kur-Araz lowlands, where irrigation enables cultivation of cotton and grains. While Azerbaijan is landlocked, its Caspian Sea coastline has been essential for fishing and transport links connecting the Caucasus region more widely. Its terrain facilitated historical roles as a trade conduit between Europe and farther Asian empires. Baku, Azerbaijan's major city and port, lies within the Caspian coastal region, known for its relatively mild climate. Vineyards, orchards, and abundant oil reserves contribute to Baku's growth and importance. However, most Azerbaijanis live in rural towns across the northern mountains. Modern Azerbaijan has continued on a path of economic development thanks to its abundant oil resources. Azerbaijan heavily relies on its oil exports, accounting for approximately 90% of its export, and is responsible for roughly 40% of its $54 billion GDP. This over-reliance on oil has caused Azerbaijan's overall economy to be vulnerable to the price fluctuations of oil, prompting the country to diversify its economy. Azerbaijani cuisine elegantly brings together the country's agriculture, trade influences from the Silk Road, and diverse landscapes into a flavorful cuisine. Signature elements include fresh herbs, fruits and nuts, lamb dishes, spices, phyllo pastries, yogurt, regional honey, and teas. For example, the national rice dish plov perfectly encapsulates Azerbaijani identity in one flavor-packed meal. Tender lamb pieces are combined with aromatic basmati rice, sweet yellow carrots, tart red currants or sour plums, and saffron. Regional plovs may incorporate chestnuts, quince, butter or lamb fat, depending on local terroir. The result is a comforting blend of savory richness balanced by tangy fruits and floral aromatics. Another iconic dish, dolma, delicately wraps ground lamb and rice or cheese within preserved grape leaves, cabbage rolls, bell peppers, tomatoes or other vegetables. Vine leaves that grow abundantly across Azerbaijan deliver refreshing vegetal snap and flowery aroma that offsets the spiced filling. Layering the dolma into a pot to slowly braise lets the components marry into a sublime composite. Lula kebab offers another way to savor Azeri lamb. Finely minced meat is packed around flat skewers and grilled to puff into perfectly crisped and herbaceous kofta kebabs. Served over smoky eggplant salad or refreshing madzoun, a strained yogurt with shredded cucumbers and garlic, the contrasting flavors and textures highlight local seasonal produce. Carpet and rug weaving is a prized folk art in Azerbaijan, with intricate techniques and designs passed down through generations. Other arts include intricate metalwork, pottery from centers like Lahij, and decorative wood carving. Mugham is an iconic musical tradition interweaving instruments like the tar and kamancha with vocal mugham compositions. Folk music traditions like Ashug minstrel ballads, played on the saz, emotionally expressive mugham compositions, and the rhythmic yali dance songs provide a foundation for Azerbaijani musical heritage. Regional styles feature instruments like the balaban reed flute, Garman button accordion, and the stringed tar. As part of the Soviet Union, Western influences and conservatory training shaped the development of composed art music by Azerbaijani symphonists. Opera and ballet also gained prominence in Azerbaijan's theatrical traditions. Azerbaijani architecture eloquently fuses Persian Arabic and regional styles, marked by ornate stone carvings, stained glass, minarets, and domed structures. The Maiden Tower and Palace of the Shirvanshahs are illustrious examples within Baku's Old City. Azerbaijan has a rich literary heritage embodied by poets like Nizami Ganjavi and Fuzuli. Epic tales and mystical Sufi writings compile centuries of folk stories, lyrical verse, and reflective narratives that form an integral part of Azerbaijani culture today, through ongoing preservation and interpretation. If you enjoyed this video on Azerbaijan, you'll love this next one.